Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host Morgan, wishing you a very fun welcome back to my bedroom. And unfortunately, as I'm sure you all have noticed, we are still filming indoors because it is approximately 1,006 degrees outside, even though at time of filming it is about 6:30 in the evening. So please, I hope you are somewhere in the air conditioning and not boiling like I am right now. But without further ado, this week's Serpent Sunday is all about racers and whipsnakes. So those fun little critters in the genus Coluber. Today specifically, we're going to be talking about the 4 species that can be found in my area. So the North American racer Coluber constrictor, the coach whip Coluber flagellum, the striped racer Coluber lateralis, and the striped whipsnake Coluber tanniatus. Apologize for any mispronunciations. Latin is hard and taxonomy is confusing. And it's especially confusing because some of these species in some texts may still be listed under the genus Masticophis. So just to add a little more confusion there, that is what it is at the current moment in our scientific history. But the field guide that I use, which I do have in my references down below, has them all listed under the genus Coluber, and to my knowledge, that is currently at least the most correct classification. But if biology in general is kind of tough, taxonomy is twice as tough. So if you're confused, so am I, and at least we're all in this together now. You clicked on this video, you decided your own fate. But another little note here is that all of the species that I have said we're talking about today have quite a few subspecies as well, and a lot of populations. The North American racer specifically has a fairly wide habitat, and I am ignoring most of the subspecies because, again, I'm looking at the animals that are most likely to be found where I am in Southern California, not what they may be found somewhere on the East Coast. Not that there's anything wrong with our snoodly friends on the East Coast, just that if you've been following along for a little bit, you know that I happen to just be picking fun snakes from around my region since I had to learn how to ID them. Now you do too. So any species that I'm noting here that you also know happens to occur where you are but looks different either slightly or vastly from what I say today, you're probably correct. However, your population is not the one I'm talking about. So in general, the racers and whipsnakes, so the genus Coluber, are fairly slender snakes with broad heads that are all known to be fairly fast moving, hence the name racer. If we get a little more specific though, the species we're talking about do vary in their colorations and their patterns. So the North American racer is going to be more plain when you put it next to the other snakes that we're looking at today. It's usually a plain brown, olive, or bluish in coloration, but their young do tend to be blotched with a darker brown. So they are a snake species that undergoes a bit of a coloration transformation as they age. The coach whips, their coloration, even in my area, is fairly variable, with tans, grays, creams, pinkishes, or reds, often with black crossbars on the neck. And then the scalation on their tail resembles a braided whip, which is one of the things that gives them their name. And also, that's another common thing among this genus. If you look at the scales on these snakes' tails, they tend to resemble braided whips, which is where the whipsnake names come from as well. The striped racer tends to be fairly dark brown or black on its top side with a cream or like very whitish stripe on this side. Now the stripe is mirrored on the other side as well. So they're fairly easy to distinguish from the Coach Whip and the North American Racer because they are very dark with a very light stripe running down the side. But their bellies tend to be cream, pale yellow, or orange, and then fade into a lovely coral pink on the underside of the tail. And then last but not least, we have the striped whipsnake, which is considered to be a fairly close relative of the striped racer. This snake is black, gray, or dark brown on the top side of its body, and then it has thin, dark stripes right down the middle of a few rows of scales on either side. And then similar to the striped racer, it has a kind of cream-colored belly, but the underside of the head tends to be more white, and like its close relative, the underside of the tail is usually bright coral pink. These snakes can be found in a variety of habitats, from open meadows to chaparral and woodlands, desertous. However, the North American Racer does tend to be absent from very dry desert areas, and Coach Whips are noted to avoid dense vegetation, and they are known to be more tolerant of the very warm, dry environments of deserts, which is fairly unique to them over other species of snakes. While there are other species of snakes in those habitats, they do tend to be primarily nocturnal, whereas racers and whip snakes are unique in being these very active diurnal snakes. But if no matter what environment, what species you're looking for, you're more likely to find them near rocky areas in these open terrains where their favorite prey items like lizards may be basking in the sunlight. Like I noted before, they are diurnal, and as they move, they often move with their heads up and sort of moving from side to side. And that is thought to perhaps aid depth perception, but to my knowledge, there's been no actual confirmation in the specific function of that movement. And when danger strikes these snakes, they'll either seek shelter in these rocky outcrops that they tend to hang around, or they'll flee into trees and shrubs, even though they are noted to be these very fast, active snakes found in these open areas. They are quite avid climbers, and they do have a varied diet. They eat lizards, other small snakes, young birds. Some species like to snack on amphibians, small mammals, and eggs. And every single species we have talked about today lay eggs during the summer months with a various clutch size depending on what species it is. However, it does seem like the average clutch size across all 4 species is about 12 eggs. And they are considered a mid-tier small predator. They eat the small animals lower in the food web, but they also are a prey source for larger predators like the birds of prey, foxes, coyotes, anything bigger than them. Well, that's all I really have for you today. Thank you for joining me in this 1,000,000-degree weather we happen to be having right now, which I am not at all pleased about, but it's fine, and we will all survive, hopefully. But if you know how to turn off the sun for a few hours, please let me know, because that is science that I am just not aware of at the moment, and I'm not cool with waiting till the nighttime hours because I'm impatient. And again, I know most of the species we talked about today have quite a few subspecies, and their characteristics vary from population to population. So before you tell me that the North American racers in your area are black, yeah, there are areas of North America where that species is actually black and known as the black racer. However, that is not the population we're talking about today. So I do hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, day, afternoon, evening, what have you, and I will see you all in the next one. Please keep yourself cool out there. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my other social medias, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget to check out thereptilegoth.com for all of my articles and blog posts. If you found any value in this video and you would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. That link is also in the description down below. And a special thanks goes out to my Diamond Dragon patron, Diane V. What you're doing is really helping me fund a dream here. I will see you guys all in the next one.